So I do have another haul for you, and this time I got it from World of Books. World of Books is an online second-hand bookstore. I think they're based here in the UK. I don't know whether they post abroad, internationally or not, but I will leave the link for their website for you down below. This is not sponsored at all. None of my videos are sponsored. I'm way too small for anybody to notice me to offer me a sponsor, but I just love World of Books for second-hand books. Even though they are dealing with second-hand books, a lot of their books come in quite good condition, so some are battered and bruised, but that's the nature of second-hand books. So I did make another order, and I got more books for my money than I did when I bought brand new, but that's the nature of second-hand books. So let's go in. Now the reason why I put this order in was because I had the decision, I had a thought in my head that I want to buy mermaid books. Like, I want to have a collection of mermaid stories, and one of the first ones that I wanted to look for was the first book that ever made me fall in love with mermaids in the first place, and it wasn't Disney's Little Mermaid. That came out in 1989, and I was 10 by that time, and I was already madly in love with mermaids by that point. The actual book that made me fall in love with mermaids is Ladybird. And this is Ladybird's Favourite Tales, and it is the original story of The Little Mermaid. Now this edition is written by Audrey Daly, and for Ladybirds, and it's illustrated by Brian Price Thomas, and it is based on the original story of Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. There's no happily ever after in the original story. That's what I like about traditional fairy tales. Disney made every fairy tale end happily ever after, but the truth is actually most fairy tales are dark and twisted and gruesome. And so in the original story of The Little Mermaid, she is asked to kill the prince to live. And she can't do it, so she turns into the foam on the sea. So yeah, she dies, basically. The Little Mermaid dies and turns into the foam of the sea because she can't kill the prince. So yeah, that is the original story that I fell in love with mermaids with. I used to have loads of these when I was a kid. I tried to collect them all at one point, but I didn't. I got quite a few, but I didn't get them all. I also like the enormous turnip. Yeah, the enormous turnip. I am on the lookout for that one, because I used to love that story. But yeah, so I got this one. Talking of wanting to collect mermaid books, I got The Mermaid by Christina Henry. Now, she is the author who wrote the book called Alice, and then she also has a new one coming out called The Red Queen, I believe. But she also does one called The Lost Boy, and I forget the other ones as well. But she does quite a few, like, of these sort of, like, based on the original stories. So this one is basically a fisherman lives on a cold and rocky coast, never able to convince any woman to come and live with him. One evening, pulls up his net and finds a woman in it. She has black hair and eyes as grey as stormy sea, and a gleaming fish's tail instead of legs. The storm in her eyes rolled into his heart. And then his loneliness caught her more surely than the net. So she stayed with him, loved him, though he grew old and she did not. So yeah, remarks of this strange and unusual woman travel from village to village and town to town till they reached the ears of a man whose business was in the selling of the strange and unusual. His name was P.T. Barnum, and he'd been looking for a mermaid. So yes, I have recently fell in love with The Greatest Showman. I know I'm late to the game, but P.T. Barnum is obviously the creator of The Greatest Show on Earth. So yeah, that kind of piqued my interest, as well as the mermaids. it was a no-brainer really that I was going to pick this up. I would like to collect the others in the, if I like the writing of this, I might like to collect the others in the thing. So those ones like that. So I've had a friend who read Alice and she thought it was amazing. So yeah, I've got that one. And then I picked up Caraval. Because I've heard a lot about this book. It's by Stephanie Garber, and it says, remember, it's only a game. And I think somebody has DIY'd the coloured edges, which I think is kind of cool. So remember, it's all a game. What happens beyond this gate may frighten or excite you, but don't let any of it trick you. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a really good book. Once a year, the infamous Master Legend hosts Caraval, open only to those who've been invited. This year, the week-long game is on Legend's glittering Isla de los Sueños, where the winding streets are an elaborate snow-covered maze and people are never who they seem. At midnight on the first day, the show begins. Visitors become players, each of them vying for the coveted prize, a single wish. All they must do is unravel the mystery of Caraval, but in a game where danger hides behind every charming smile, winning isn't without loss, and their wish may be their last. So, yeah, I am quite excited for that. And then the next two books are part of a duology, I believe. It is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. But says, the dream chooses the dreamer. Since he was 5 years old, Laszlo Strange has been obsessed with the mythical lost city of Weep, but it would take someone bolder than he to go in search of it. Then a stunning opportunity presents itself in the person of a hero called the Godslayer and a band of legendary warriors, and he has to seize his chance or lose his dream forever. What happened in Weep to cut it off from the world? What did the Godslayer slay that went by the name of God? And what is the mysterious problem he now seeks help in solving? The answers await in Weep, but so do many more mysteries, including the blue-skinned goddess who visits Laszlo's dreams. So that sounds really interesting. I know it's quite popular on BookTube, and Laini Taylor is quite a popular author, so I got that one. And then to go with that one, because it was there, I went with Muse of Nightmares. This is the hardback version, and look at those edges. Wow. And this one is orange with a bird on the front. My daughter would probably really like this book. Her favourite colour is orange. Yeah, this is just the sequel to Strange the Dreamer. Only they're going to look odd on my shelves because they do not match, but okay. It annoys me, but they were second hand. What can I say? And then the last thing I bought, because I've been seeing people on YouTube. I know there's a live show that goes out once a month, I believe, or once every other month. Of some booktubers who are reading these books, because it is a box set that I've bought, and they are big books, so I can see why they're only doing them once a month or once every 2 months. I can't remember, but it is a popular TV show and popular book. It is a Game of Thrones box set. So it is George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, the story so far. So this is just a box set of 5 books. However, it's only the first 4 books in the series, because part 3 comes in 2 parts. So these 2 books here are actually 1 book, but they were too big to put into 1 book, so they've divided it up into 2 parts. So I have A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords Part 1, Steel and Snow, A Storm of Swords Part 2, Blood and Gold, and then A Feast for Crows. So that is the box set of George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones books, Song of Ice and Fire. So yes, when I'm going to get to these, I do not know, because I'm in the middle of another box set, and in the middle of a readathon at the moment. But yes, quite excited to get to these. So yes, I bought all of these from the secondhand store. This whole box set, by the way, was $14.99. $14.99 on World of Books. I don't know how many they have because obviously it's a secondhand store, so they only have what they have in. But yeah, I mean, I had to do a little bit of damage control here. This was all split, so I don't know if you can see that I've had to sellotape this because this was all split and broken. But bit of sellotape, nobody's going to notice. And I have myself a big box set that's worth, I think I've seen these as much as like 50, 60 quid, brand new. And I got them for $14.99, so not bad. So yes, that is my book haul from World of Books. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will leave the link for you in the comment section down below. Okay, see you soon. Bye.